Hey everyone, welcome to a new crafty vlog. This week I'm working on knitting projects and I also do some sewing and spinning. I'm starting out the vlog on a Friday evening when I ran some errands to pick up the sewing patterns that I had printed, and I also stopped in my LYS. I hope you enjoy. I'm back from my errands. It is now just past 6:30 and we're gonna go out for pizza a little later. Here are the patterns that I got printed. I think in total I got 5 printed, so that's exciting. Definitely going to be tracing those and doing some cutting later this weekend because my lyrical order just came in yesterday and I got a lot of fabric. I have not sewed since last summer, and I think that I'm in a pattern of when the weather gets warmer, I feel the urge to sew. So that hit recently and I found a bunch of patterns that I want to make and placed an order from Lyrical Fabrics. I've ordered from them once before, and I noticed that they did a big update recently because they had a huge selection, and they don't always. Last time I looked, they didn't have too much in stock, so I really took advantage of it this time. This first fabric is a viscose linen. I got a yard of this, and I think I'm gonna make the Pomona pants by Anna Allen. I've tried to make pants before, and I started with a fairly intermediate pattern and it didn't go super well. Like, I made the pants, but they just didn't fit great. But I've heard really good things about the Pomona pants for beginners, so I'm gonna try it. And I figured this denim color was something that I would wear all the time. And I got this rayon jersey in this red clay stripe. And I'm planning on making the Linné top by Lori Pierre. It's a pretty basic long sleeve t-shirt, but it's got some interesting details. The neckline is asymmetrical and it's got some like ruching on it. I saw Alexandria Arnold make both the top and the dress, and that's what gave me the idea. So I got 2 yards of this, and all of the fabric that I bought to make into a specific pattern, so I just looked at the yardage requirements to figure out how much to buy. I feel like I'm still way too new at this to like estimate yardage for certain types of garments and just buy stuff without a plan. I wanted to try Lyrical's cotton jersey that is really popular. I think it's called the Valencia Organic Cotton Jersey, so I got 2 yards of it in black to make my boyfriend a t-shirt, and hopefully I'll have enough left over to make myself a t-shirt as well. This is really nice cotton jersey. I almost got it in another color, but I didn't want to go overboard, so I took it out of my cart. And for the t-shirt for my boyfriend, I'm planning on making the Sage Tee by LB Textiles. Next, I want to make the Pine Raglan by Paradise Patterns that just came out. I've kind of been waiting for a raglan sweatshirt that's just very basic. I tend to wear those often, which is what I'm wearing right now, and I want to make some of my own. And Lyrical Fabrics had a really good selection of sweatshirt fabric. They had a bunch of different colors, and they also had the rib knit to go with it. So first up, of the cotton sweatshirt fleece, I got this espresso color, which I think is such a good color. And I got a lot of this. I got 3.5 yards because I'm planning on making the sweatshirt as well as the Closet Core plateau joggers as a set. I've never made either pattern, so I hope it works out because I'm committed to it with all this fabric. It took me like 3 days to decide if I really wanted to go with this espresso. I was deciding between a black and a couple other neutral colors because for a full like sweatsuit, I wanted to just stay in the neutral color so that I would wear it more frequently. And I also wanted to stay in the darker colors because I do have a tendency to stain my clothing, especially my loungewear. And ultimately I decided to go with the espresso instead of the black, and it is a very beautiful color, so I'm really happy that I went with it. And I did get 1/2 yard of the rib knit to go with it. I'm going to use this on the sweatshirt for the cuffs, the neckband, and the hem. And then I got another cotton sweatshirt fleece in this beautiful bright green. This is in the colorway Fern, and I got 1.5 yards of this also to make the Pine Raglan, so hopefully I like that pattern. And I got the rib knit to go with it as well, because I really like that. I mean, you can see on the sweatshirt I'm wearing, the cuffs obviously are in a rib, and I like that detail quite a bit. And lastly, I got this black plaid. This is a cotton linen and it is very textured. And I'm planning on making a pair of pants, probably the Pomona pants, but we'll see. I got 3 yards of this. So that's what I got. It was definitely a lot, but I like to bulk order things and plan out my next few months of crafting at a time. So with all the prep work involved, I'm not sure how much sewing I'll actually get to do this weekend, but I'm definitely going to trace my patterns, wash my fabric, whatever I decide to start with, and hopefully at least cut something out this weekend. And then as you saw, I also stopped by my local yarn store just to see what they had. I was looking for a colorful variegated braid of fiber because Andrea Mowry just announced a new spinning challenge and I can't resist those apparently, where you take a braid of fiber, you split it in half and you spin each half as a 3-ply, but you spin it differently, and then you stripe your 2 yarns in a pair of socks. And that just sounded like a lot of fun and I really want to try it. So I might spontaneously start that project. As you can see, I do have a fiber stash, but I just wanted to see what my LYS had and they actually didn't have much. All they had was Malabrigo, which I'm just not interested in spinning. And they also had some like local undyed fiber, but I wanted something colorful because that's sort of the challenge. And so I do have a single braid. A lot of this fiber is being saved for some combo spins, but I do have a single braid that I think I'm gonna go with. It's this Romney by Hello Yarn, and I think this will be colorful enough to do this challenge. I do also have this. This is my only other single variegated braid that like isn't planned to be in a combo spin. This is from Dye Mad Yarns. I actually got this from my LYS like a couple years ago. So I was considering this one, but I think this has too much white in it. Like the braid is predominantly this white and gray, and then there's just like these blips of the brighter colors. So I don't know if this one will be the best for the challenge. So I'm still deciding if I actually want to start that project, but it does sound like a lot of fun. I did browse the yarn at my LYS and I didn't really see anything that I wanted to pick up, but I did grab these 9-inch circulars in a size 2 because I am subscribed to Summer Lee's Colorwork Cuff Club and she keeps coming out with new patterns each month that I want to make, but I don't love knitting small circumference color work on magic loop. So I decided to try 9-inch. I've tried them before and I don't love them. They tend to cramp my hands, but I figured if I'm just knitting the cuff in color work, I can probably make this work. And I got the US 2 because usually you go up a size or 2 for color work. So that is what I got, and I'm very excited for all my crafty plans. I just need to put an audiobook in and be very focused on what I'm doing for a few hours. Everything that's happening is just really getting to me, and I need to focus on some things that I can control and that bring me joy, and crafting is that thing for me. So as I mentioned, we're gonna walk over to get some pizza and beer later this evening, and that might be most of my evening. When we get back, I'll probably work on my bulky traveler. And I do have Severance and the White Lotus to catch up on this weekend, so that's a great feeling. I think that's it for now, so I will check in with you tomorrow. Hello everyone, it is the next day. We went out for pizza last night and I forgot to take a clip of the pizza. This happens to me literally every time I try to vlog. So we went out last night. I didn't get any knitting done because we stayed out too late. We always think we're just gonna go for a little bit and then we get chatting with the bartenders and we were just having too much fun. So we stayed out late. This morning we went to a local event and while we were out we got bagels and we stopped in our local bookstore. And this is the book I picked up, Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. My coworker just recommended this to me and it's been on my TBR for a while now. So it's now the early afternoon. We got home a little bit later than expected because we missed our bus, but we're home now obviously. I just put some fabric in the wash. So let's go over some of the crafty things that I want to work on this weekend. First is my bulky traveler. I had just restarted this when I showed it off in my last podcast episode. So here's where I'm at now. We both really like the way that this is turning out. This is a sweater that I'm knitting for my boyfriend. I don't really want to set a goal with this because I have to work on it in such short sessions because it's so bulky. For my Un sweater, I'm getting close to finishing the yoke, so I think I'm gonna make it a goal to finish the yoke this weekend. And then I just cast on my tessellated vest, so I'm still working on the ribbing. I don't really have any goals with this, but I am filming a project vlog and I try to time my progress with when I can film. I'm almost done with the ribbing. I need to knit to 1.5 inches. So I did make some good progress on this during a meeting yesterday. But another goal that I have this weekend is to cast on a Harlow hat with this skein of handspun. I really need a portable project on the needles and I've been wanting to cast this on. I would also like to clear out some bobbins. I have these two which were left over from the spin that you just saw. And I also have these 2 bobbins left over from my sweater spin. And these have just been hanging out. I haven't quite figured out what I want to do with them. At this rate, I think I'll just ply them together, and same with these. I'll just ply them together and see what I can get out of it. So those are my plans this weekend. I would also like to trace out my pattern. I don't think I'll get to cutting my fabric today. I think my fabric will need to dry overnight, but I can at least trace and cut that pattern out. So I think I'll do that this afternoon. But before I do that, I really need to clean my office. It's just gotten very messy and I really need to put some things away. And while I'm doing that, I also have a shelf that I need to hang that I've been putting off. So I'm just gonna take care of it now. That went pretty well. It's up. This is just a board that I got at a home improvement store, and we did have to cut it to fit on this wall. So this edge is exposed, and I'm going to order some like laminate strips to just put on that exposed edge. And also, you saw at the start my drywall anchors kept breaking, so that's what this is about. I had to spackle that, and at some point once that dries I will sand and repaint it. For now it doesn't look too great, but honestly I always have issues with drywall anchors. I was able to get one of my brackets into a stud, but the rest I did have to use drywall anchors. The idea with this shelf is that it's going to be my whip shelf or my future project shelf. I haven't decided, maybe it'll be both. But any active project that I have that isn't like on my couch, I want to keep on this shelf. And it's not the most aesthetically pleasing shelf, it's very simple, but I thought it might look nice in the background of my videos. That did take quite a while, and it's dinner time now, and it's just me for dinner tonight, so I need to decide what I'm doing. And then I definitely want to make some progress on this whip. My bulky traveler, I want to prioritize this tonight, and when my hands start to hurt, I'll probably switch over to my Un. Hi, good morning. It's actually afternoon now, and I just got done tracing out my size in the Pomona pants pattern. That pattern is only 2 pattern pieces. It's the front and the back and the pocket. And I still haven't decided if I'm going to cut out my fabric today, but I did wash it yesterday and it dried overnight, so it is ready to be cut, but it's already lunchtime and I do want to get to a few of the things that I chatted about yesterday. So I'm going to take a break for lunch. I think I'm going to make another sandwich and then get started on some of those other crafty things. Yeah. Okay, I'm finally getting around to winding off these old bobbins, and I've decided to make a 3-ply using all 4 bobbins that I had. So I had 2 singles of that pink yarn that I spun, and I spun that with one of these as a 3-ply, and now the 2 pink bobbins have just run out, but I still have this much left. So I'm going to take my last bobbin, this one, and wind this into a center pole ball to continue plying as a 3-ply. And I don't know if this is going to work. It seems like it's working out fine, but I don't know what I would actually use this for. I'm just trying to use it up without like tossing it. Okay, that actually worked out great. I got quite a bit more yarn than I expected to, and even though the plies were not all the exact same size, it worked out really well. This is literally all that I have left. I did not weigh it or anything, it just worked out that way. So I'm gonna wind this off and go ahead and finish it just so that I'm not leaving another task to do in the future. And now I have all these clean bobbins. Okay, I just pulled my skein out of the water. When I was pouring the water out of the bucket, I slipped and just like poured water all over myself and my bathroom. And I'm like literally out of breath from cleaning that up. I swear, some days I am just the clumsiest person. But she is drying now, and I think it turned out much better than I expected. Also, as you saw, I cast on my Harlow hat. It's not actually the Harlow because I don't own the worsted weight pattern. I do own the fingering weight pattern, so I'm sort of following that, but changing the numbers for my worsted gauge. So I got that started. I got a little carried away. I was going to just cast it on, but I knit a few rounds and I really like the way that this is knitting up. I'm just such a fan of brioche, and it's been a while since I've knit a thicker weight brioche. So now I think I want to kind of switch gears and do some knitting finally. I've decided that I'm going to wait on sewing, even though I really want to get to those Pomona pants. I think tonight is just not the night. I'm a little too tired and I really want to focus on my knitting because I haven't much this weekend. So I think the only thing I haven't done that I wanted to get done this weekend is prepping my fiber for that 3-ply 2-ways spin. And I'm still just going back and forth on whether I actually want to start this. But I don't have a spinning project and I did just clear a bunch of bobbins, so I don't see why I couldn't start it, especially while it's still a little bit light outside. It's been a very gloomy day/weekend, but I think it's still light enough outside to like take photos of my braid before I break it down. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do that and just get it ready. I probably won't start the spinning tonight, but I'm gonna break that down and then finally get to working on the projects I said I was going to work on. Hello everyone, it is a couple days later. I didn't film yesterday because we just had a lot to do after work. I needed to run a couple errands and then we were outside for the rest of the day. We've got some stuff that we need to do before contractors can start work. And we also have a contractor coming hopefully this week to give us a quote for drywall. So last night we cleared out our compost pile and moved it into a really cool like compost bin that my boyfriend made. We're big fans of the channel Epic Gardening and they have a tutorial on how to build this exact one. So I got that cleared out and then I also spent some time clearing out the garden beds for him. And then later this week we need to clear out the garage. So we've got a lot of just like stuff around the house to do, but we're gonna take a little break tonight and I'm gonna do some sewing. Also a little update, I did not finish my oon yoke like I wanted to over the weekend. I've still got a few more increase rounds to go, so I'm very close, but I didn't quite finish it because I really focused on the bulky traveler and we just did a little try on and it's fitting great. So that's exciting. It is about 12.5 inches and I need to get to 16 inches before I start the yoke. And I skeined up this cake with all 3 strands because I had to rip out that first attempt. So now I'm gonna focus on finally cutting out my Pomona pants. I just need to go grab the iron and ironing board from downstairs and I'm gonna try to vlog as much as I can. It's always hard to film things that I am a beginner at myself. Plus, obviously the lighting situation is not very good. The sun is setting already. It's a little past 7 p.m., but you don't really care, do you? Also, my audiobook that I'm listening to is about to get returned, so I really need to finish it. It's called A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher, and I'm 90% of the way through, and it's due in 2 days, so I'm good. I can totally finish it tonight. And a new hold just came in, a new audiobook just came in, also by T. Kingfisher called Sword Heart. So I will start listening to that. And I did start another book that I am physically reading, but I literally just started it a couple nights ago. So I'll talk about that once I get a little further into it. Okay, I think it is time to pour a glass of wine and start cutting out my fabric. right, so I cut out all of my pieces and I got started on sewing. You saw my little test piece, and the first instruction is to sew on the pockets, so that's what I'm currently working on. So here's the first one I've got pinned on, and I'm about to edge stitch this on. All right, pocket is on. I was wrong about there being 2 pockets. There's only 2 pockets for the shorts, so that's the only pocket that I have to put on. And next I am pinning the front and back together. It is like 10:30 already, and I need to get ready for bed because I'm tired. And I know I'm tired because I just made a mistake. Luckily, it's an easy one to fix. So I sewed the front and the back, like crotch area, and then I top stitched it without serging my seams first. So I'll just rip out the top stitching and serge my seams. But I got the entire inseam pinned. So I made pretty good progress on these. I am pretty slow at sewing. I like to take my time with it because I don't always know what I'm doing, and these are definitely going really fast, and I really like the pattern so far. I also love this fabric. I want to buy more of this already, but I should wait to see like how it wears and stuff. But yeah, I'm really liking this project so far. Okay, we are going to finally get ready for bed. And tomorrow I have a day full of meetings and also a haircut. So what do you think of the new cut? Short hair feels much more me, even though I was growing my hair out for quite a long time. My tea is steeping for a London fog. I'm gonna get back to sewing. I need to set up my serger and decide if I'm going to rethread it with black thread. It currently has white thread, which might not look bad. So I'm gonna do some tests to see what I think of that. And also, this arrived in the mail. This is that like laminate tape stuff that I'm going to put on the edge of my shelf. So here are my pants. I'm gonna go make my London fog and turn on my audiobook, and it's the perfect evening. All right, here are the pants. It is now Saturday, but I did finish these on the last night that you saw me sewing. So they were very quick and they fit quite well. I'm pretty happy with them. There's a few adjustments that I would make next time. And I'll take my cardigan off so you can see them a little better. So here's how they fit. They do look a little bit better when I'm wearing actual shoes because the shoes lift me up just a little bit. And they don't quite touch the ground if I'm barefoot, but when I'm wearing shoes, it just lifts them up ever so slightly so that they don't run the risk of dragging. And for being a fully elastic waist, like, they're actually fairly flattering. I'm not sure that I want to wear these with the shirt tucked in. I think with the cardigan it looked pretty good, but I was trying to wear them a couple nights ago when we went out with friends, and I was tucking my shirt and I just don't know that it works with the waistband. I can't fully decide, but I think like just a cropped sweater would look cute with these. So I did shorten them by, I think, about 1/2 inch, just to make sure that they weren't touching the floor. And I just shortened them when I hemmed them. I didn't shorten them at the shorten lengthen line. But since I know that I need to shorten them just a little bit, I think next time I would shorten them at that line. It kind of hits like somewhere around there on the leg. The other thing is that the crotch is very long. I noticed that when I was cutting out the pattern pieces and I got a little bit nervous, but I didn't make a muslin. I kind of considered this fabric my muslin, or not a muslin, a toile. But you can see, I mean, especially on me, I'm pretty short-waisted, and this is just a very long waist. So I'm going to do some research on how to shorten a crotch just a little bit so that my next pair fits better. And I think I'm gonna try the tapered leg, even though obviously the wide leg is more trendy, and they're just extremely comfy. They're definitely like pajama pants, and you know, I wouldn't say that they fully get away from the pajama pant look, but I think with the right shoes and the right top, these can look really nice. I just wanted to show, I think with the longer crotch, like it makes more sense for me to wear them here, but that looks stupid. But that's where they fit better, in the crotch area. So I probably just have quite a short waist compared to the block, but I would just never wear them like that. So next time I will shorten that area, but especially for some very flowy, loose fitting pants, I think this was a total success. All right, y'all, I think I'm going to end the vlog here, but before I go, I do want to recap what I worked on this week. I made pretty significant progress on my bulky traveler. It is almost to 16 inches, which is where it needs to be before I split for the sleeves and the yoke. I am almost done with the yoke of my oon. I'm gonna be honest, I looked at the pattern again and I was quite a bit further away from finishing the yoke than what I thought last weekend. I thought I only had a few increase rounds to go, but I had about 10 increase rounds, which is 20 rounds. So I now have 3 increase rounds left. So I did knit on this quite a bit, but it's really coming along and I am just happy that I'm working on this right now. It is definitely a dopamine project, as the kids say. And lastly, for knitting, I cast on my worsted Harlow. I haven't knit on this again because I've been pretty disciplined about working on my other projects. Spinning wise, I cleared off my bobbins and I made a skein. I would estimate that this is about a worsted weight and it is just under 60 grams, so not an insignificant amount. This is my first like skein that I've been able to make with leftover singles, so I think I'm gonna start a little collection of like my leftovers skeins. And I prepped my fiber for the 3-ply 2 ways spinning challenge, which I will be starting soon. And obviously you just saw I finished my Pomona pants. And I haven't started anything yet, but I did wash my jersey fabric for a top. And of course, my new shelf. I did iron on the laminate strip and it is just a tad taller than the width of my shelf. So I started cutting off the top, but I was using a box cutter and it's not super clean. So for the rest of it, I'm gonna go grab a utility knife. But that's it for me. Thanks for hanging out during this week of crafting. Let me know what you thought of this format for keeping up with my making down in the comments, and hopefully I'll see you next time.